Hey guys, so let me start by saying that I love this camera, and the Fujifilm X-H2S has been the best purchase I've made in 2022 by thus far. But I do have a wish list of features that I wish this camera did have. The first feature I wanted on this camera was internal ND filters. While I do use hard stop ND filters, just having them internally would have been so clutch. Especially when I'm shooting weddings and I'm going from an outside scenario to an inside scenario, and this way I wouldn't have had to like screw on or screw off ND filters. I could have pressed the button on the camera to actually switch my NDs to make sure I have the correct exposure when I'm shooting my weddings. I know Fujifilm could have did this because they have ND filters in one of their smaller cameras, but it is what it is. My second feature I wish this camera would have had was an internal raw codec, and that is no fault of the camera. That is actually Fujifilm's fault for not creating this codec yet. In fact, I'm still wondering why they didn't create a cinema camera when they do have cinema glass. Fujifilm is the only company other than Kodak that mastered color science and made it in art form. We can really see this with their film sims, with the control of color that we have in our cameras, and the ability to actually recreate vintage film stock with film recipes. The third feature that I wish this camera would have had is waveform. Now this feature ties into having a raw codec because a waveform will actually help you expose raw video in your skin tones much easier. That is because you'll have your IRE values on the left side of your graph, instead of making sure that your information is dead center on your histogram. Having those IRE values will let you know exactly what your exposure is, make sure your skin tone is in the right values, and honestly it's just a better tool overall. But that to be said, it's not a deal breaker because I do expose my F-Log2 footage and my F-Log footage with my histogram, honestly with no problem. The fourth feature I would have loved would have been having the ability to record media straight to an SSD. Recording and raw video take up so much space, and with the price of CF Express cards, you'll most likely have to dump your footage, back up your footage, and honestly reformat your card so you can use it over again, and that is assuming that you don't have backups. Now, I do have 4 CF Express Type B cards, with the Angel Bird card being one of them, and honestly, it works very well. Even then, life would be easier if I could just plug in a 2TB or a 4TB SSD and have all my footage go directly onto my drive. This would save a lot of time not having to transfer my footage later, and my footage be ready to edit right there on my drive. The last feature that I wish this camera would have had is an anamorphic D-squeeze. I am now starting to buy cinema lens and anamorphic lenses, with my first anamorphic lens arriving tomorrow. This is set for Amazon to play do not steal my lens again and send me face masks instead of my lens, and I'm still pissed off about that, to be honest. The reason I'm switching over to these lenses is because I want to create real cinematography work. I want that real Hollywood look for my short films. Some of my favorite films such as Blade Runner, the original Halloween, Matrix, Star Wars, and Inception has all been shot on anamorphic lenses. Then you have other amazing movies and Netflix series that are shot on amazing cinema lenses that are not anamorphic. Cinema lenses are not optically perfect lenses. Some cinema lenses are actually old vintage lenses that are rehoused in a more modern looking body but still have that vintage image quality with those characteristics. When I'm trying to create a film look in camera, I'm not reaching for a photography lens. I'm not reaching for the newest Canon lens or the newest Sony lens. I'll most likely be reaching for my anamorphic lens, or maybe a lens like the Canon FD, or something that can help me recreate a nostalgia look from maybe like the 70s or 80s. Something like around the same lenses that the Joker was shot on. This is because I want that same look and same feeling that we see in some of our favorite Hollywood movies. And honestly, you cannot get that aspect ratio with a photography lens. Now, like I said in the beginning, even though my X-H2S do not have these features, it is not a deal breaker. I still love this camera, and I will be picking up an X-H2 when they come back in stock. Now, I didn't come to Fujifilm because of the autofocus. I came because of the image quality and the color science. And with those two factors, I'll be happy to work around any kind that this camera have.